Greg said it all. Yeah, I hope everyone was listening to what Greg shared with us just a few minutes ago, because I mean he hit the nail on the head with every aspect of this whole thing. And I I don't want anybody to think that it's I mean, for me, it was a team effort. I mean, I had help. I mean, Greg helped me with images and layout. Um, but I had people reading my paper and making suggestions for changes. I I think if I had just picked 25 images and written a paper and sent it in, I wouldn't be up here with anybody listening to what I have to say. And so just don't be hesitant to ask for help with this.
Thank you, Bibi. And Dennis Hammond?
Still muted, Dennis.
Oh, thank you. They've said it all, and it's the whole thing. I think everybody has to reiterate that it is a process. And one thing, I might just caution people, because a lot of times people say they think it needs to be a lifetime set of images from their whole career, but for many of us, our styles and looks have changed over our career, and so I really would encourage people to maybe pick the strongest images, because if you took an image, I looked at some stuff I did 30 years ago and it just didn't fit the style that I wanted to portray as some of the newer things I had. So, just try to make sure that everything fits congruently in the look and the style, and make it all work. You don't want to have one black and white and all the rest color, or vice versa. You want to make sure everything works together.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, Jamie Hayes, his portfolio was born out of an artist project, and that I don't believe that's what he started building his portfolio with at the very beginning. When I think he decided to go for his fellowship, and then he realized that this project that he was doing, this black and white nude project that he was doing, body study, that it really said a lot about him and who he was and his experience through it. And so building that, walking through that journey with him was remarkable. And it was built on this one particular artist project. And it was a beautiful thing. It was a gorgeous portfolio. And anyway, if that's something to think about, yeah, it doesn't have to be the body of your all your years in work in photography. It can be a particular project that maybe you just experienced, that project really, really spoke to your heart and did something. Because yeah, Jamie's, take a look at that. It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah. We have a question about a title page from Christy. You want to chime in there, Christy?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I have a question. I was looking through people's personal papers, and I noticed that some people had a separate title page with just their title and their name, and then other papers had the title right on the first page. Does it matter, or is there some kind of a standard?
That would be a question for the Dennises.
I don't think it makes a difference as long as it portrays. We're not writing in the MLA format because it's a personal paper. So some did have, I've seen them with both. And as long as you portray what you're looking for, don't you agree, Dennis?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So, question today, they're all digital papers, correct or incorrect?
They will be sent
when
to
I got
us.
mine, it was printed.
It's because you're old, BB.
Thanks a lot, Carl.
I couldn't resist. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, when I got mine, I had to chisel it on stone tablets, Carl. So
Shipping was a beast, wasn't it?
yeah, it was tough.
Shipping was terrible.
What we ask for is a PDF of your paper. Most people are sending me the Word document and the PDF, but all we really need is the PDF. All right. So that's that.
Okay, and the requirements are, Dennis?
2,000 words.
2,000
At least.
words. You have to
At
be an
least.
ASP member for 3 consecutive years before you apply.
And you have to have 15 additional merits past your Master of Photography degree.
Print merits.
Print
Yeah,
merits.
they got to be print merits. Yeah, they're not speaking merits and other merits. They're all exhibition merits.
Can it be your Master Artist degree instead of a Master of Photography degree?
Does not matter.
Okay.
15 merits.
And that's it, right? It's that plus a 25. Somebody's asking the question, so I'm clarifying for you.
Yes.
25 museum quality images is what we call them. And then the paper, which is 2,000 word minimum, and the application fee. And the application deadline is July 1st. The paper deadline's August 15th, and the images are September 1st. Is that it?
Yeah, roughly.
Roughly, yeah. Look on the website, it's there.
Well, I mean, if they don't, so I'm pretty flexible. We are having a judging this year. I have entrance. So we are having a judging. So if you're thinking about it and say, I'll get my application in, but I can't really get you the paper until, I'm pretty flexible. I'll tell you when the drop dead date is, but, I can be flexible because we are having a judging. We are having a judging.
Good.
Good. And Carl, what would you say would be your takeaway, your cliff notes that you could give people?
Well, no one's really talked about this yet, but you still have to come up with that physical display of 25 images. So you better have a good relationship with your lab or your printing facility. Some of us printed our own. That was quite a feat. And all the printing, all the mounting, all the coding, all the reprinting, and oh my goodness. But I will say, if you're going to learn a lot about the printing process to create the portfolio in full in museum quality. So you're also along this journey going to get to know your lab a lot better as well, and maybe go visit them if you hadn't done that already. So that's another takeaway I think that was really cool about this, is seeing it all the way through, where we used to do this all the time, back in the day. For all of us have been here for a long time. But now a lot of the entries in our print comp, of course, are electronic. So we're not following the process all the way through. It was really fun to get back to that again and doing way more than we normally do for print competitions. So that was really cool.
If I can just say something now, for some of you, everybody's journey is going to be different, and some receive their fellowship on their first attempt. Not many, but some do. Most of them take multiple times. Carl's already said that he took multiple times. The most that I know that anybody has submitted before they received their fellowship degree was 5 times. So some people really need to be diligent at it to get their portfolio to that place. But as I say that, from my end, what will happen was your portfolio will be judged, and you will either receive the fellowship or you won't. And if you don't receive the fellowship, then we ask the judges to give reasons why they've declined to award the fellowship to the entrant. And we write those comments down, and we will then send all of the comments to you after a period of time when we can assimilate that. But then what I ask is that you would call whoever's in charge of it. Right now it's me. Next year it'll be somebody else. But you would call them and just talk to them about the process, because I can write down the comments of the judges. BB, you've judged it, right?
Yep.
And I can write down comments that BB says about the portfolio in front of him, but that doesn't always give you the context because I can't write all of that. And then what you have to do is you have to put your big boy pants on and listen to what I'm telling you. And don't take it personal, because really we're all trying to get you to the same place. We want you to have the fellowship, but you have to listen to the comments of the judges, because that's only going to mold your portfolio to become stronger and better. And I hope I didn't offend anybody.
We also want to point out that the judges are anonymous and nobody knows who the judges are. And when you say, well, BB, did you judge? BB's name won't be on the critique form. It'll be Judge 1, Judge 2. And so the judges are anonymous. And the only way you'd ever find out is if they contact you and tell you either way. So.
Actually, can I just add one thing also? Because I know a lot of people had mentioned that so and so helped them, and that is key. However, I learned by the third year going through this, I had 2 and 3 people helping me. The first year, I asked too many people to help. Don't do that to yourself. Come up with 1 or 2 people to bounce ideas off. Otherwise, you were going to get so doggone confused. I was going in 6 different directions, and it wasn't fun, and it was tearing me apart. So just a word of advice: find that 1 or 2 people that you trust, that you merge with, and go with them, and that's it.
People that have already received the fellowship, Carl, right?
Yeah, that would help. Yeah, that would help.
That's a really good point, Dennis.
Somebody's asking that if all entries are matted, which I know they're not because mine wasn't. So
no, yours were actually placed on metal, and they were about 50 pounds a piece. Thank you.
Yeah, 110 pounds total.
So that actually leads towards my next question. So is about paper choice and presentation. So for me, that was one of the hardest things. As soon as you have the layout and you have the images, and then the fellowship paper, and then I had to try to think what I was going to do for the presentation. So my images, they're all more low key. So I couldn't just do white matting around it, because that which was what you would have turned in for image comp for more for WPPI, or even like the darker, I couldn't put a black mat because then there could be issues with the blacks in mine. And then do I just not mat them? So I ended up going with not matting them and mounting them on styrene, and looking at it as that's how mine would look better, being that they're all low key as one cohesive image. But I fought with that for a while, and I had to get paper samples from the labs. I didn't even use the 2 labs that I normally use. I ended up going with BWC to print mine. But I would be curious to hear what everybody else, how they chose their presentation.
I don't remember, Dennis Kraft, if I asked you about metal, if that was okay or not, or just went with it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you asked me, and that's not a problem. That's not a problem.
Okay. No, I didn't remember whether I had asked you ahead of time or just kind of did that by the seat of my pants. But yeah, I did metal prints with no matting because of the subject matter of what I did. And I wanted that high gloss finish and to get real depth in the images. So that's the way I went. And I thought it was maybe a bit dicey, but I got the nice rolling suitcase for Dennis and staff, so they didn't have to pick up the whole thing every time they moved them. But it was a project. So it is, no matter how you print them, it's a project. So.
Well, I think both of you guys, Christy and Ella, both your darkness and the way you presented was your presentation. And there are those that we have seen that have had cut mats, that have had digital mats, that had the full image as their presentation. So I think, and the paper choice, I think it has to match the style and the look of what you're going for. And so that's going to be your personal choice, but also remember your personal choice has to also agree with the judges feel that's the choice for it as well. So there needs to be some kind of presentation on it. But like Ella and Christy, they both did full frame and used their their image as the presentation. And then I just saw a message there about shipping. You want to have a nice case. Some people have bought metal cases, Halliburtons, and different things because you just spent thousands of dollars on images and you don't want to ship them in cardboard boxes because heaven knows what the shipping is going to do some. So you want to make sure that they are protected well and have a nice shipping case because you're going to use that case to get back and forth and ship around. So I hope that answers that question.
And on top of that, what you might do is throw it out on Facebook or some of your photography groups because, I have my fellowship cases just sitting in a warehouse that is not being used. And I'd be more than happy to let somebody else borrow it so they don't have to buy a new one. So there's probably other options of how to get those images to us.
Yeah, thank you. And Greg, you had something to say?
Yeah, just along the line of, what you printed on. Chris, you touched on it, and Dennis touched on it a little bit. And I think that, I've always looked at it like that's one more element that you have to tell your story is what choice you choose to put, place these images on. So like Christy was saying, she chose to put it on a particular type of paper because of the mood and it translated that. Ella said the same thing that, she did it on metal because it translated her story better. I did mine on canvas because my whole story was around a blank canvas. It all started with the whole title of my thesis was a blank canvas. And so that was a story of my life that I ran through the entire story. And so it was all done on canvas. So it said something about it. I think if it was on canvas and it had the story had nothing to do with canvas or the images themselves, it might have been a distraction. So the other thing I wanted to point out is that when you think about what you're going to place it on, and just to kind of piggyback on what Christy was saying, is that think about it not in terms of one image. You can't think about, well, these images look nice individually matted or have a border on them. Maybe when they all have borders on them, it all really makes the whole portfolio fall apart when you step away from it. So can't think of it individually what would look good with these, from a presentation point. What's the presentation? How does it add to the body of that one piece that you're going to walk in and look at?
I have a couple questions. People are asking, are prints printed on acrylic acceptable?
I considered acrylic, but it's so fragile. I knew it would be lighter than the metal, but I thought actually it wouldn't be, it'd be heavier. But also the fragility of the surface of the acrylics would be really, really tough, I would think, to keep from getting scratched during the whole process. That's another reason I went with metal. And even with metal, there was a little ding on a couple of the images finally when I got them back, which is fine. In big picture, it's nothing. But I would think that would be a big issue with acrylic. I don't know. And the weight too, because they're going to be heavier than my images were even. I've got a big rolling hard plastic case for mine that rolled. In case anybody needs that kind of a case, I'm happy to lend it to as well. But that was a big issue for me, was the weight and trying to not make it 300 pounds instead of 110 pounds. So it was a big issue. So you've got to think about that as well.
But you would be able to print on acrylic, right, Dennis's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's going to be heavy.
Right.
Heavy and fragile.
But remember, everybody's case that comes to us, and Dennis Hammond will attest to this, it's all layered and packed perfectly, and it's got nice sleeves around each images, and they're all buffered in there with little styrofoam cubes, Carl, and they're all really nice, but they're not going to come back to you that same way. We're not going to repack it the way you packed it to us. So if you put something in there like acrylic that's going to be fragile, they may not make it back to you in the same form that you send them to us.
We do try. We do try to make them look good.
We do, but through
the day,
I just can't spend 100 hours packing a case the way you packed it.
Yep. Size, what are the size requirements, maximum and minimums?
I don't think we have size requirements. Probably 8 by 10 would be, but understand they're going to set in front of 25 and 25 images on this, what, for 20-foot wall.
Yeah.
And if you make them too small and the judges can't sit 10 feet away and view them and enjoy them, that's going to hurt you. But if you make them all 40 by 60 and I can't get them on the wall, that's going to hurt you. So, Bibi, you had your hand raised. What do you want to say?
Yeah, it's really all about impact when you walk into that room and see those images for the very first time. If you've got just little images sitting up there, there's no impact whatsoever. And so that's just right off the bat a killer for you. So your impact is huge. So I don't know about your size requirements, but I would think 16 by 20 would be the smallest. Did you
do yours 16 by 20, BB, or what size did you?
Mine were 16 by 20, but in the day, back when Dennis got his, and not only did he do it on stone, but they were 20 by 24s, weren't they, Dennis?
Most of mine were, but I still had some thin ones.
Yeah.
They were like only 10 inches wide, but probably the longest length on all of mine were 24. Yes.
Right, and so then when I entered and submitted, 20 inches was the requirement, was the max in the longest dimension.
I did mine 16 by 20. Ella, what size were yours? Yours was
16 by 20, 20 by 16s, and 20 by 20. So I had 3 different sizes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had different sizes too. I also had some 20 by 20.
Yeah, 20 by 20 was my largest.
But for those of you that are asking, minimum size is 11 by 14. Maximum size is 20 by 20.
Okay.
Or who's asking?
Shauna was asking. So.
And is there a specific timeline to complete the process once you paid your fee?
Is it within the year, Genesis?
By the date we judge it.
So what the calendar
is, I think what they're asking is it a one-time fee? No. If you don't get it, you pay again next year. If you don't get it, you pay again next year.
So it's for calendar year.
Yeah.
I saw another post there that somebody asked if they could be like, we talked about print merits, and as long as they're a merit from entering photographic competition and you have that merit after you're an ASP member from either electronic or from a physical print, that would count.
Yep.
Or wedding.
Well, yeah.
People still do that?
It's a category.
Kidding.
It's a category.
No, competition. It's not a category, it's competition.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think we're almost done. Does anyone have anything else that they would like? Any last questions or any last comments?
Yeah. Feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to ask a last question.
Just do it.
I don't have any questions. Yeah, just do it. Exactly. Just write the check and do it. And then push yourself.
I have a question.
Go, Christy.
Okay, so I've gone over the website numerous times, looking at the requirements, and I have not obviously gone on to apply yet, but part of it says to send Dennis a check, or do we do it a credit card on the website?
The way the form is now is it's a Google document on the website, and as you go through the process, it will ask you to put in your credit card information during that process. So it'll be all done online presently. I do not need a check, although I have a check in my possession from one of my entrants this year. I don't care how you pay it, but
yeah, the check should be to Kraft or Hammond.
They'll take your money in any form.
No. But if you are going to sign up now, the process online will have you put the payment in as you're filling out your application. All right. If you're having an old application as a paper one and you're filling that out, then I guess you'll be sending me a check.
And it also says that we need to have proof of the number of merits that we have.
Correct.
And it said that to send that to you as well. Is that
Correct.
still like
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Just print off the PPA merit report. It's right on your my page in the PPA website.
And those are checked. So we go over and make sure that you got the merits you needed for that process.
And we check that you've been a member for 3 years.
Yes.
One more. How many time submission allowed if you fail a first or second time?
Try again. There isn't a limit, right?
No limit.
No limit.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Cool.
No?
Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for coming on and listening and asking questions. Thank you to the Dennises and Phoebe and Carl and Ella and everybody, and Greg, who had to leave the party. Going to start happy hour early because he's in Florida. No, I'm just kidding. He had to work. But
And if any of you have any questions, I'll write down my cell phone number, and you're more welcome to call me. I'll answer any questions you have. It's 269-209-2252. 269-209-2252. And just respect, I don't want it at 2 o'clock in the morning.
2:15 is fine.
2:15 is fine. 2 in the morning's not.